Okay. What's up, guys? It's Kagami. Uh, and welcome to a bit of a different variation, kind of to supplement the run and bun hardcore Nuzlocke Trios challenge. This will be the postscript. I'm just gonna go ahead and let it play, and I'll kind of explain what the ideology behind it is. So simply put, this is kind of I guess you can call it a bit of a director's cut of just all of the footage that I capture offline for all of my heart run and bun attempts. So, for example, this is Chimchar attempt 2. So, Chimchar attempt 1 died during stream 1. And as of the short, I ended up having to do or get attempt 2 off the ground so that we could be ready for stream 2. So just kind of a general mismatch of, for the most part, these videos are gonna be mainly just going over the six pack that I get. I think the six pack is the most important part of Run and Bun because those do indicate the most important Pokemon that you're going to be utilizing during the run, as well as any notable boss fights. Chimchar Attempt 2, you're seeing the footage of the um, six pack, and then we just cut straight to the Petalburg Aqua Grunt, for example. Nothing too crazy. It gets a little close because of this living on 1 HP. I'm not going to be doing too much commentary over the gameplay itself unless there's something explicitly that I feel is important to talking about. But another thing that I plan to do with these post forums is that obviously I'm not going to be playing perfectly, even off stream. So this will also capture a lot of fail attempts that kind of happen during these like off section streams. A good example is that this video will actually show 5 attempts or like kind of the end results of a few of the Turtwig attempts. That Turtwig really got kind of wrecked during this section. I suppose you could say a lot of unlucky encounters, but for the most part, you can see here these fights getting a little bit hectic. We're a little bit concerned, but thankfully we do manage to like barely clutch up against this guy, and then we cut over to the museum double battle. I won't be going over too much of the fights themselves unless a Pokemon is sacked. I did use try and use Oyster to kind of debate Toxics um in a 1v1 against the Marini, I believe. But I don't think it was too effective if I remember correctly. In fact, I think it only gets sent in once to like take a hit and then help for the pivot. But yeah, for the most part, that's kind of what happens here. Um, these these are also going to be kind of opportunities for me to kind of talk about just whatever is on my mind, whatever is going through. I don't know. I guess you can consider these kind of like the old Call of Duty commentaries in a way, where it's an opportunity for me to just kind of talk about whatever I'm feeling. I'm not going with any script or anything. Everything's just straight from the brain. I hit record. I'm not stopping until the video ends. Essentially for these postscripts. Uh, but yeah, so I guess a pretty simple place to start is going to be why I'm doing this challenge. So simply put, I've always loved hardcore Nuzlocke. people who have watched my stream, people who have been around know that I like doing these type of challenges. I did it for whether for vanilla games, whether for doing some of the ROM hacks, a lot of the Soul Links that I've done with Kyo and with Crow. Um, Pretty consistent that I enjoy these type of challenges, and I think part of the reason why I was inspired to do so um stems from just kind of like this is the hardest ROM hack, and it was released basically at the start of when I first became a VTuber, but I didn't really get a chance to play it when it was first being released, mainly because I was more concerned with not pigeonholing myself into just one type of content. I wanted to do uh, the decent amount of content in general, uh, which is why I didn't solely focus on um, Nuzlocking originally. I would say the reason why I wanted to make it a video is definitely because I felt like I wasn't really getting a lot of YouTube or like I wasn't presenting myself with very many opportunities to create YouTube content. Oh, there's also me fighting the optional trainer in order to get the rare candy. Pretty immediately after doing the aqua grunt, by the way, but I don't suffer any deaths, funny enough, during attempt two. Actually, wait. I think I suffered one back when we were fighting the Munchlax on the Ruin Maniac, and I think that was my fault because that was I switched into Growlithe when I should have just taken the 1v1 after it belly drummed into Salic Buried. It is what it is. But uh yeah, so for the most part, a lot of the YouTube content that I was or a lot of the things I was doing on stream didn't really lead itself into making like fun YouTube content. Yeah, we could have done stream highlights, we could have done like there was a lot of Apex being played, and that could have been like small little Apex montages, but I didn't really see anything that was like, yes, this will make for a fun thing to do to help work on my editing skills. Um, Here we are switching over to the Piplup Museum double battle. This is really nice because I got Togedemaru in the Granite Cave as my encounter, and I was like kind of hyped for utilizing it because I think this is the only, or this was the first steel type that I had gotten at that time. I think later in Turtwig, I eventually get a Kufant, but it is what it is when it doesn't work out the way I was hoping for. But yeah, ultimately, I just kind of wanted to find an opportunity where I could um, play a game and then try to work on my editing on the side, if that makes sense. Uh, that's kind of the reason why I wanted to go for these for this challenge. Also, because this is one of the hardest Nuzlocks currently available in the a world. It would just be a really cool opportunity where uh, I think at the time of me recording this, there's like less than 30 people who have like 30 Nuzlockers who have completed the uh the challenge, and a lot of the bigger name Nuzlockers like Jan, like I think Drew, maybe um Moxie and them. Not all of them have finished a complete run and of run and button. So just kind of an opportunity to face up and like do something that the people who I've watched for a long time hasn't had an opportunity to do yet. It just felt like really cool. Well, to just be like, yo, this will be a cool way to get myself in a mix. But here is Turtwig Attempt 2's museum fight. And a pretty big thing that kind of messed me up here was how often the Skrelp was just poisoning all of my Pokemon with Poison Point. I didn't really have a good answer once I was double poisoned. Uh, from there, it was just like I think that this Skrelp is gonna just like snowball the fight out of control. Like having so many health bars go down was really really bad. But we like barely walked through, but now we're out of answers going into the Frillish because now Wakanda and Kyoto's HPs are just like ridiculously low. Um, and now I don't have a clean answer other than Galapagos to go into into the Venipede or the Whirlipede. Like even this Marini ends up being like really really awkward because it's just able to set up shop on me for the rest of the battle. uh but it is what it is. Um yeah, something I kind of this is also kind of a fun little place where I can kind of journal out some of the things I've learned in Run and Bun, having done having an opportunity to do as many runs as I do, all concurrently. Um, I kind of learned that the number of rock types that are, or not rock types, the number of bug types you get early on can definitely grief out your how you play the early game. Because a big issue that Turtwig runs into a lot, even in a run that I'm doing off stream after wiping in the gym, uh, you need to have enough bug types because you need resistances to poison. But at the same time, having too many of them means that you're susceptible to a lot of the beach trainers, which is like it's a super awkward duality where I think in this encounter or in this run attempt 3 I end up with three bugs because I get both Sizzlipede and I got Surskit from my 6-pack, but then I also get a Paris in my 104 or my 10 yeah, my 104 encounter. And it was like it made certain fights completely unplayable because I would just like run out of options that weren't also susceptible to like say flying or rock that I was gonna be running into a lot during these not necessarily the Elite Eight, but like I said, during the beach fights is where things got like especially awkward. And yeah, I believe that for the most part, most of the fights, um, it's pretty consistent to get through the Elite Eight, or the Entry Eight. I only the most recent run, which is not featured in this little postscript video. Oh, it's the only one that wiped to this Petalburg Aqua Grunt. Every other Turtwig attempt in this video, uh, they all die at the beach, basically. I think one other run might die at the museum, but I believe that uh, attempt two is was just like completely wrecked because we didn't have efficient poison, anti poison answers, and then I think three dies because I think it's three. I'm trying to kind of play off of what I'm remembering because, like I said, these are all kind of compiled in between basically the streams. Because the goal is that I want each stream to start from the same point. Obviously, if we get to a point where I can't maintain that logically, then I'm gonna have to just like make it work. Oh, this is where I lose Paris because Munchlax is faster than Paris, which lets him pop the Salic Berry when I was trying to bug bite it. And that was something that just made me it made my heart just drop instantly because this is keep in mind I lost Paris um to the same Munchlax earlier in attempt 2, and that was just like I'm really losing the same Pokemon the same way, except different preface, essentially. But um yeah, like I said, I only show fights where Pokemon die or if they're bosses. So you can see here on this Sailor, I'm pretty sure I'm about to lose something to the Palpitoad, most likely Sahara. I can actually kind of visualize it right now. I think this is gonna be like Sludge, and I probably just said, "Oh, I can tank one water type move," but I did crit here because I was trying to go for like Smackdown for just opening chip, and I'm just like, okay. From there, I just like tilt run here through the because I did not remember to unequip the berries, and as a result, this fight just goes like completely south. Like legitimately, attempt three died to this guy. If it didn't die to this guy, it definitely died to the following two tubers. I probably like gave up at some point. Like Alaska's like completely chalked here, or I think, yeah. I also get fake out crit on Edo. I was trying to min max for just opening chip. Results in a lot of just damage output being put in. Yeah. Yikes, dude. I'm like looking at this fight and it's like kind of coming back. This is this Nidorino has double kick, poison tail, sand attack, and toxic, if I remember correctly, and that made it awkward because I didn't have a good way to maximize off of Venezuela's typing advantage. Nor did Venezuela have a lot of image output in general to help me actually overcome this fight. Like, I lose so many Pokemon in attempts 3 and 4. Like, they're both bit. Attempt 3 is definitely the tilt run. Like, I think it's pretty safe to say that I just like I'm completely out of hope at this point. I'm just like, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna run through this fight, figure it out. uh yeah, looking at this fight, like it brings back like pretty bad PTSD of like how important the six pack is because you can if this Venezuela if this is not Sizzlepede, I think a lot of the fights are a lot easier. But at the same time, having bug bite would should feel like pretty decent, but like yeah. On to attempt four. Kind of an interesting one. Um, I think for the most part, what kind of made attempt four also fall apart was just that kind of type disparity that we can't really overcome because of how bad the six pack encounters can be. Um, it's really bad to say, but I think if you get Sizzlipede plus Surskit, like even getting Sizzlipede in general is like enough to really make your fights really bad. Like I think getting either an unnerve Pokemon, so Houndour or Lilio, or even Rookie D early on makes some of the fights at least bearable. But at the same time, how do I say? Most of these encounters, like Pidgey, is unironically probably the worst encounter here, and you're almost like fated to get Pidgey in that route. Um, like you can see here the six pack. I'm using a Combi, so I'm still rocking this double bug, but then Lotad isn't very strong early on. Lumbre isn't that much. Lumbre is like decent, but it's not better enough to make this fight or like this whole leading up to Brawly that much better. Like I think there are some fights where it's not bad, but because I'm also rocking with Turtwig, it's just like too rough of a fight. And once again, the Munchlax is back. I try and go for a smoke screen angle here to try and minimize. I go for double smoke screen. I still get a headbutt. Like honestly, I think that as awkward as it is, the Munchlax is just straight up a 1v1. I lose two high bulk water Pokemon here, and I'm like completely in Giga steering because I can't be bothered to figure out how to like troubleshoot this on the fly after seeing that. Like even seeing Mobile, which Fire Fang being normal rather than being a covet bait is like absolutely terrifying. And I'm pretty sure I like just finish this fight. Oh, I can see the angle here. I'm pretty sure I lose like Stonehenge. Like for some reason. I'm not sure if there's anything more that you can really say or do. Like these fights not getting shell armor on like Galapagos was pretty bad. Having to yeah. Ugh, sorry about that. Yeah, even Oaxaca being unable to resist shockwaves from the Flaffy, just in general, the six pack has like way too many and this is kind of like one of my gripes about uh the six pack is that the table of like grief encounters are to a point where it's like I almost after attempt four I took like a day or so and I greatly contemplated showing the six pack, and if I got double bug, I considered just like calling it a loss there, purely because of how bad um working with double bug was gonna be. Like, even though you get bug bite on Cyclopene, like, it's just like way too hard to overcome the number of flying types and the number of just like secondary weaknesses to rock that you don't have the tools to deal with. But thankfully, attempt 5 does in fact make it past the museum fight split. Um, Granted, it was not without uh, its share of casualties either. One big thing that was a problem for me is that I think this is still a oh, all right. These poison touches are also like problematic. London literally being at 1 HP here was like, I'm just freaking out at this point. Like, that's running button though for you, man. Like, it there isn't really that many things you can do um that doesn't require you to still have the amount of risk that there is. Like, Ghana finally being an out to the Neat Arena was like kind of a godsend. Having to do all sorts of improvised strategies. Like, you can tell here that the Flaffy, I have to sack. I end up losing Wuhan because I'm so confident that I could take a fire punch there. But, you know, it. Keep in mind, um, I don't play with calc. The reason why I don't play with calculations is because uh, that takes away too much time that I should be spending actually playing out these puzzles in real time. Uh, yes, playing safe with the stats would be somewhat better. Oh, I lose Ghana here because I get soaked, and I'm like, what's the worst that could happen here? And I don't realize I'm dead to Venom Shock. I just thought that he was just toxic turn one, and it'd just be like completely done there. But oops. Thankfully, we barely get through. I think we only lose Ghana here, thankfully. Although we definitely have a bit closer of a call than I would have liked to have wanted. But yeah, that pretty much. It's super. I apologize for sounding very yappy in this first postscript. I didn't really come into this with like an idea of what I wanted to do. So I was just like, I'm just gonna hit record, just kind of talk through what's on my mind in general with how I feel about the run and bun and trios challenge. And yeah, I'm I feel pretty confident that this will turn out decently. I'm sure that once we get further and further out into the game, these postscripts are gonna feel kind of awkward to do, mainly because I'm gonna be doubling back a lot more. Um, like right now, oh, that's the biggest concern that I have is that once I get to a point where I might have to double back uh further into the game, I'm not sure how this is gonna play out, and yeah, that pretty much does it in terms of just me yapping right now. But thank you guys for watching. Just let me know in the comments if you want me to kind of like be more formatted in how I do these type of postscripts. I'm not really sure how I want to present these. I kind of consider these kind of director's cuts of footage that no one would ever see normally. And from there, kind of just snowballed out, and this is what I kind of came up with. But again, thanks for watching. There won't be any BGM or anything to this. This will be straight to YouTube. After I like do the cut of all of my raw footage, and yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys on the next video. Also, remember to follow my Twitch if you want to see more live progression, just kind of as they're happening type of bit streams. But thank you for watching.